Hello, we're going to look at another passage from John's Gospel. Today's reading is John chapter 13, verses 18 to 38. This is a very interesting passage where Jesus is having a conversation with his 12 disciples, and it begins with Jesus talking to them to say that one of them is going to betray him, and they're all really disturbed by this. And it says that in verse 23, it says, leaning on Jesus' chest was one of his disciples who Jesus loved. Now we know that John, who wrote this gospel, that's the way he described himself in this book. He describes himself as the disciple who Jesus loved. Now that's a great way for us to think about ourselves and to describe ourselves as well, because the secret of being a Christian is to realize it's not about how much we love him, it's about how much he loves us. And the more we focus on his love for us, the better and our life will go with the Lord. And so Peter asks John to ask Jesus who he's talking about. And it says John is leaning back on Jesus and he asks him who it is. And then Jesus tells him that it's the person he's going to give the bread to. And, I think it's amazing that Jesus would show this love to all 12 of his disciples, knowing that one of them was ultimately going to reject him and choose to make himself his own God, which we know ultimately leads to hell. And that just shows me God's heart is of love and acceptance to everyone, even those who will ultimately choose to reject him. And the second part of this passage, Jesus is giving the famous command that we should love each other in the same way that Jesus has loved us. And by this, everyone will know that we are his disciples if we love each other. And Jesus has demonstrated that just before this section where he's washed all his disciples' feet. He's done the most humble and most menial action to show that he loves them in a very practical way. And then when Peter is challenging Jesus and saying to him, Lord, wherever you're going, Jesus is saying, I'm going to go somewhere where you can't follow. He's talking about he's going to die for his disciples. Peter contradicts him, says, no, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus has to really confront him with the reality of where he's at right now. And he says to Peter, you will deny me 3 times before the cock crows again tomorrow morning. And the way Jesus related to Peter is amazing. Jesus knew that Peter was going to deny him, completely fail him. But the difference between Peter and Judas was, I think Peter really knew that Jesus loved him. And so when he did fail, when he did deny Jesus 3 times, we see later in John, he is able to allow Jesus to restore him and to accept, that Jesus does love him and Jesus died for him. So this is a great thing to remember when we feel we fail God. He still holds on to us. He will never let go of us. He will never forsake us. Christians talk about people backsliding, but Jesus will never slide away from us. If we do slide away from Jesus, the best thing to do, like Peter, is to slide back to him again. Amen.